You just see it. Like, there was this guy who was riding a big old fancy lawyer, riding in his limo, and he's driving down the road, looks out the window, and he sees two guys standing by the road. One of them's bent down and he's eating grass. So he tells him, "Stop the car." Pulls out, gets out of the car, says, "What are you doing? Eating grass?" He says, "We've run on some rough times and we don't have enough to provide for our families, so we find that we have to eat grass." "Oh my, that's terrible. You come with me and bring your family. Bring your family with you." He says, "Oh, okay." And the other guy says, "And what about you?" It's the same thing. He says, "But the first guy had a family of 4. This next guy, he's got a family of 6. They're all back in the bushes, kind of just hanging out in the shade." And he says, "Oh, bring them too." So here, this 12 people or so cram into this limo. And it's a big limo, but it's still a little tight, Just come with me to my place. And they're in the car, and they're feeling such warmth and joy and love. And he said, "It's so kind of you to take us with you and bring us to our house." And he goes, "Oh, it's no problem. The grass at my house is a foot high." See, I'm not quite sure that's compassion. You understand me? Right? But my experience that I had with Mary, that experience that allowed me to share with you this journey this month about the unconditional love, about the way that we can support one another. It calls me to close out the month with a charge and a challenge for us to be understanding and compassionate, to be spiritual warriors, to share that pure love, and to allow ourselves to be in that irresistible space, the inner part of us that's anchoring or aching to express, to allow that to come out. I had it come out in me yesterday in a really strange way. I was home, and Johanna and I were kind of kicking back, waiting for the potluck. No, we had a lot of work to do. But I'm watching videos because I had a lot of work to do. And Lord knows it's always nice to get numb when you got a lot of work to do. But this one video came up. It was Boston Dynamics. They have a robot called the Atlas. Have you seen this? It's this incredible robot. It's very human looking. And this newest Atlas apparently now is able to kind of walk really well on its own and do all these different tasks. And they were bragging in the video, Boston Dynamics company bragging about their robot. And it's out walking in the snow, and it's got flat-footed. And it's walking and it's going through the snow. And it started to slip, And I caught myself, even on watching it on video, I caught myself kind of reaching for it. Whoa, don't fall over, dude. It's a robot, but I'm having that feeling, And then it goes into this building. It's really neat. Opens the door all on its own, goes inside, and starts to go pick up boxes. And it's picking up the boxes, and it's putting them on the counter, and it's like the boxes labeled 10 pounds and then 20 pounds, and it's just doing its work, And then the roboteer, I guess you call him, is there with a hockey stick. And when the robot picks up the box, the man, the tester, hits the box with a hockey stick and knocks it out of the robot's hands. And look at that, robot's arms, whatever they call that. We humanize all these things, right? But here's the point. When the box was knocked out, I found myself like, dude, what are you doing? And then he'd push the box, and the robot would have to reorient and find the box. And I guess he was showing how dynamic this robot can be. But the idea that he was pushing it around was like, stop that. It kind of, And then the robot has got the box in his hands, and he's got the hockey stick, and he's behind him now. And he hits him in the back with the hockey stick. Yeah, right, Did you see her reaction? Ginger just went, did you feel it? Right? It's a robot. It's not sentient, but there's something in us that calls us to be compassionate to the least of these, right? Even to the robot. And it's important that we hold that in our thoughts and in our minds, in our lives, because if we can dehumanize something that's dehuman, it's not human, it's that much easier to dehumanize that is human, to make the other something that we can hit with a stick or keep down or hold down and not have a compassionate understanding about, It was a very powerful experience for me. And I saw that some of you had that same reaction because it's in us. See, it's our nature to be compassionate. It's our nature to be understanding, to be sharing of our love and our kindness to another. And when we are not doing that, we're retarding something that is central to our very core. And if we're retarding something that is central to our very core, we are building up the kind of resistance in our bodies that leads to disease, to cancers, to all kinds of neuroses, you know? And so the idea here that I want to express is that there's this thing in us that wants to do, and we should do that to the best that we can. Dr. Holmes says that the only guarantee of our divinity is in its expression through our humanity. We need to live our life in the key of humanity. And as we do that, we express our divinity. And we feel a little better about our day. We feel a little better about our lives. We feel better about ourselves. And that's what it's all about anyway. And it's an archetypal thing. It goes way back. You know, you got the Mensch who's infinitely wise. You got the Bodhisattva who decides not to go into enlightenment, but to stay here and help others gain enlightenment, you know. There's the idea of ser humano, brother to brother. Be brothers to the other. Serve humanity. Keep them from travails, from the hardships of life. There's a guy named David Bro. He was just kind of hanging out up in Davis, California, doing his work, and one day decided that the work he was doing wasn't satisfying him, that he wanted to understand this idea called compassion. So he went home and he looked at what he absolutely needed, and all the stuff that he didn't need he got rid of. So he's got like one set of towels now and one set of sheets and, you know, one set of dishes and his guitar and his two sets of clothes or whatever, and the rest he's given away. And what he does every day is he stands at the corner of C and E Street, or C and 3rd Street, C and 3rd Street in Davis, California, with a notebook in his hand, and he asks people to write down their concepts of compassion. What does compassion mean to you? And that's what he spends his whole time doing. It was really interesting. One of the interviewers on the video I watched said, how do you do that all day, every day? How do you just stand there? And he's so present. He goes, well, I just stand here, you know? And there's this thing that's happening. There's this presence around him, and people just walk up to him. They had a camera sitting off across the street, and he's just standing there, not doing anything. And people just walk by and walk up and give him a hug because they could feel the energy that was coming off of him. And he's compiling this all into a book that he's going to release at some point of various people's ideas of what is compassion. It's kind of like that guy I talked about a few weeks ago who realized that a lot of people don't get enough to eat, and so he would dedicate his lunch hour, called the lunch hour, and he would just sit at this table and invite other people to give their lunch money and not have lunch that day so that he could help feed homeless people. You know, there are all these different ways that we can go out and express this archetypal idea that's already within us. You know, when Paul was writing one of his early letters from prison in the early Bible epistles, he wrote to the Colossians. He wrote, "Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." Wrap that on you. Wear that about you on a regular basis. And then he went on to say after that, and then once you've wrapped yourself in this, then go out and be forgiving. If you're not forgiving, it's really hard to get to the place of compassion. So they two go really closely together. It's a wonderful idea. It's something else I want to bring to your ideas. Because see, we're all connected. There's no breaks. We decide the boundaries. I've talked about this before. I say it a bunch of times, but if you're looking at my face right now, you can still see the monitor behind me. You can see the shadow that we're soon going to get rid of up above. You can see all of that even when you're looking at my face, because you decide to set up the boundary right here. But the boundaries are our decisions. It's not really true. They don't really exist in reality. In fact, reality doesn't exist in reality. We make up reality. You know, there's so much happening in our brain, taking in so much information that it can't keep up with all that it's taking in. So the conscious mind decides, I'll hold on to this piece and I'll hold on to this piece. Well, this piece and this piece seem like this needs to happen in between. So it renders the stuff between what you hold into your mind to create the reality of your life. So most of your reality is a movie that you make up anyway. you know? The truth of it is, there's no boundaries. We're all connected on every side of life. It's a universal thing. Like where that stardust that I talked about a few weeks ago, you go to the Griffith Observatory, great exhibit there. It shows all the elements that made up the universe was made up of at the beginning of time, with the boom, at the Big Bang. And then there's another button you can push, and then what lights up are the elements that are in the human body. And I think there were 28 in the Big Bang, and 14 of the 28 are in the human body, because we are this stardust. We are that original thing that came from the universe. There is this sense of connectedness that we cannot get rid of. I found it. Do we have the video, Mary? Let's try and see if we can get some wisdom. I have so much compassion for you that if it doesn't work, I'll just move on. I have compassion for you. Paulette, on the other hand, she's working some big-time judgments on you right now, darling. Mm-hmm. This is. I know it's going to work. Yeah, do this, do that, push that. This is so live. I love it.
I know, we're real live.
We are. Is that the one? That would be a flash drive. Very good. There is Dr. Quantum. No, up. That one. That one. Oh, full screen.
Full screen.
No. Back up. Rego.
Entanglement crushes our
Eh.
experience of space. Two objects.
Hold on.
Two
Hold
electrons
on.
created together
Yeah, just pull it. Grab this. Grab this.
to the other side
Grab
of
this.
the universe.
Whoa! That was amazing. All right, now grab this. Let's go back here. Go back.
Instantly.
Push the 2 arrows.
Oh yeah, these 2 arrows. Those.
So, I have
Yeah.
information.
Okay. Volume. Play.
Triangle in the middle.
I love how we're doing this. Yay, family.
Experience.
We'll watch it a couple times. It's only a minute.
Two objects. Two electrons created together are entangled. Send one to the other side of the universe. Now, do something to one, and the other responds instantly. Instantly. So, either information is traveling infinitely fast, or, in reality, they are still connected. They are entangled. And since everything was entangled at the moment of the Big Bang, that means everything is still touching. Space is just a construct that gives the illusion that there are separate objects. Are we far enough down the rabbit hole yet?
We're on our way. Okay, did you catch what was going on there? Two items, right? Pull them apart. Do something to one, it happens to the other. Now, the value in understanding that is what we do or don't do to our fellow human being, we're doing to ourselves. And we don't even recognize it because it happens at such a low cellular level that the response is happening down there. So it may take years, it may take a lifetime, it may take generations. Some of the stuff that we're dealing with in the world today, we are not personally responsible for making it happen, but we are all personally responsible for making it stop happen. Does that make sense? Okay.
Way to go, Mary.
Yeah! Love her up! Nice! That actually was kind of fun. We should do that more, not often.
There is something about Mary.
There is something about Mary. Yeah. Way to go. I love this. Ooh, can we have interactive church every week? This is so much fun. We do, don't we? Yeah, we do. So, it is. This idea, though, of interconnectedness just really hits me as such a strong thing. And Dr. Holmes was so on time with understanding this long before they were able to do some of the quantum mechanics that have led to these scientific proofs of what he understood on his intuitive level from reading all the ancient texts, you know? That's why we encourage you to take the classes so you can study this information for yourselves, because this wisdom that Holmes had, this wisdom that the animators had to create that video, you have that same wisdom within you. We all have it, but for some reason we've been led to believe that I'm not good at math, or I don't understand these intense concepts, or I'm not a good reader, I don't retain information. We hold on to all of these ideas about ourselves that limit our access to the wisdom of the universe. And, you know, I truly believe, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I believe there's a certain level of it's mine in the world that makes people become a little selfish about this information, and they don't want you to be accessing it on your own. They would rather have you read about it or hear about it, or just not pay attention to it and buy the latest new car or the newest I don't know, iPad, which I'm waiting for it to come out. You know, still not going to get an Apple Watch. I'm sorry. I love you guys. I love the Apple Watches. They're very cute. That was such a fun day. The other thing that's interesting about as we lose our connection to each other is that a part of us begins to die. You know, there's these cells in the heart called myocardial cells, and they're the cells that allow the heart to beat, you know? And if you take 2 of those cells and put each in a petri dish, they will continue to beat in rhythm. And if you take 2 of those cells and you start to spread those petri dishes farther and farther apart, they start to get out of rhythm. And you push them even farther apart, and they'll stop beating altogether. But before they stop beating altogether, if you bring them closer together, they'll get back in rhythm again. Wow. Within our own body is this principle of how important it is for us to live our connection, to share our connection, and to be unified in how we share our love, our understanding, and our forgiveness for our fellow human being. You know? It's really interesting. I was walking through Salt Lake City, and I'd heard in Utah that they give apartments to homeless people there. They have this wonderful program, but I saw a lot of homeless people, and I started asking them, "Where's your apartment?" And this one guy I was talking to, whose beard was, even his beard had dreadlocks. He was kind of, he had this energy. But he had this wonderful phrase. He said, "You know, yeah, I hear about these great programs too, but at eye level, they're not quite showing up." I love the way he said that, at eye level, you know? When we see stuff at eye level that's not quite showing up, it's because it's at the level that we're supposed to do something about it. In other words, if we can see it, it's our job to do something about it. It's really time for us to accept the social responsibility that's calling to us to help make this world a more comfortable place. You know, the Science of Mind has this thing about creating a world that works for everyone. Newsflash, the world already works for everyone. We're just not all working together, right? And so this call to us is to begin to work together, to begin to get in sync with one another, to know that what's happening to this person over here is happening to this person over here, and we are the ones that are connecting the two together. But it begins with having compassion and forgiveness. Particularly forgiveness for ourselves. It's okay. If you walk past a homeless person and you don't acknowledge them, don't beat yourself up about it. But catch yourself around it and recognize that that's maybe what you did. And begin to treat that person as a human being the next time you see them, you know? Because what can happen here, there's a woman named Jan Glidewell. Actually, Jan was a guy. No. This is Jan Glidewell, who is a humorist and a writer in Florida, a journalist. And this is one of the phrases that he wrote. He says, "You can clutch the past so tightly to your chest that it leaves your arms too full to embrace the present." How about that, huh? You can clutch the past so tightly to your chest that it leaves your arms too full to embrace the present. And in that idea, what I'm thinking here is that's the call to me to be forgiving. to open up and to let stuff go. I've been carrying it around too long, and I'm dumping it, and I'm moving on to something else, you see. I want to expose myself to be loving simultaneously to everything in the universe as much as I possibly can. That it doesn't mean that I'm discerning or that I become a doormat and let stuff just walk over me. I still have choice. I still understand what is right and wrong, but in my understanding of that, I can be Kingian in my way. I can be Gandhi-esque in my way and not get angry because somebody's doing something that's not the way I would like to see it done. I don't have to hate the guy who's doing something that I don't like. I can love him into liking it. I can love him into his change, you know? But if I hate that, if I hate it, there's no love going to happen in that situation. There's only going to be resistance built up. You know, that's how these big changes took place. But a lot of times, that idea of not wanting to forgive comes from a fear of being hurt. Who wants to get hurt? If I forgive them, maybe they'll do it again and I'll get hurt, you know? You can do that. You can do the Marianne Williamson kind of forgiveness. She says, I forgive you, but I don't want to have lunch with you. Right? You don't have to go that far. But as Pema Chodron says, practicing compassion involves learning how to relax and allow ourselves to move gently toward what scares us. Relax into the space that you are and move toward what scares you. And remember what I talked about some time ago, my friend Johnny Jackson, that says fear is, that bravery and courage is fear that has said its prayers. Just say your prayers and move into that space that allows you to feel uncomfortable. In fact, if you don't go into that space that allows you to feel uncomfortable, you're not gonna grow or expand. I mean, we all went through puberty, and all us guys, I mean, we went, there's that time where, you know, hi, my name is Steven, you know. How do we ever get these beautiful women that we're standing next to if we had never gotten through that, you know? You guys know what I'm talking about. That was some fearful stuff. You want to walk up and say something to somebody and you don't know what voice is going to come out of your voice box? That's some scary stuff. But we made it through. We moved through that scared us. So a little bit back to the Mary idea. See, I think Mary calls for us to care for the least of those around us who are experiencing the worst conditions of life. I think that's that ultimate love that she had that allowed her to sit at the feet of her son and watch the life drain out of him as he transitioned into his next experience. And what bravery and what love he displayed at that moment to say, forgive them, Father, for they know what they do, you know? To be able to say to them, to the whole world, yeah, you got me hanging here and this is not feeling good, but hey, I'm not mad at you. I understand. You're blind. You don't see. You're scared. You're living from your fears. And if a person can do something like that from that position, surely we can roll down the window and say, hey, there's a shelter around the corner. I don't want to give you money, but there's a shelter around the corner. Or maybe you do want to give them money. Whatever your call is, you know what it is. You'll figure it out for yourself. Mary is the kind of energy that bends to the needful part of life and leans in to the hurt and to the pain and opens her arms and wraps it and pulls it in close. So at least if you're holding something close to your chest in this situation, it's the love of another human being. It's the love of another human experience, the love of another expression that is just like you. It's an opportunity to heal the wounded, to heal and hear those that are living their lives unheard. Because if we don't do it, it infects our bodies, not just our physical body, but our body, the community body, the world body. Because again, we're all connected and we're all beating together in the same heartbeat. Robert Masters says, I love Robert Masters. We're going to have to do a Robert Masters class. You guys know Robert Masters? Ooh, you will. We'll do some class. Spiritual Bypassing, great book. He says, real compassion can be fierce when it needs to be without any loss of heart. Without any loss of heart. So you can be strong in your compassionate moment. And this wonderful doctor that I met out at Cal Poly, I'd love to get her to come and speak to us sometime and do a workshop. I'm going to try and see if I can make that happen. Her name is Dr. Elaine Doherty. And she says, we transform by way of experience, and every experience is processed internally. Now that's an important thing to think about, because as we move ourselves toward becoming more compassionate, more forgiving, more understanding, we need to practice that. You see, because it's only going to become a reality for us. It's only become a response, like a habitual response, as we experience it internally. So the call to action this week is to begin to see at eye level the stuff that's going on, to begin to practice it, to develop some kind of a ritual for yourself for how you can bring about an idea of compassion and understanding and forgiveness to the universe. I will call it for yourselves. Sit in that gap space that we talk about, and it will arise to you, something that you might need to do, something that you're feeling called to do, and practice doing that. Don't just give it some lip sync and write it in your journal and say, this is a great idea one day. No, figure out what it is for you and go out and do it. Become change agents in the universe. That's what people at the convention were so excited about when they were coming up to me going, wow, what a great community you got. CSL Simi Valley. They hear about you. They know, the entire movement knows about this 177-seat little itty-bitty room. I'm talking about people coming from churches that got like Mile High with 10,000 members, and Kathy Ann Lewis's church up in Seattle with 15,000 members. You know, there's the Arlene Bumps Church with 2,000 members down in South Florida. These kind of churches, they're knowing that this place right here is on the map. So let's take it to the next level and not just be demonstrating for ourselves personally. Let's demonstrate for the world things that we can do, things that we can change. And tell us about it. Tell me about it. We'll bring you up here and you can tell the rest of our family what has been going on. Because that's what our call is. That's what there is to be doing. See, it's not that there's just something about Mary. There's something about John. There's something about Dorothy. There's something about Elaine. There's something about Stephen and Claudia and Lillian. There's something about all of us. There's even something about Mac. There's something about all of us that we can do to make a change in our own lives and thereby change the world. And so it is. So that brings us back to, did we lose our affirmation? I have it. No. Maybe one back. There it is. Okay. Let's do it one more time, shall we? Here we go. I compassionately bend to the needful part of me and humanity with love, peace, and honor. So it is. Post it, tweet it, share it somewhere. Make sure to use the hashtag CSLSeeMe. Wonderful. Okay. Eat your heart out. Look how many I have. Let's do a prayer. Before I like to pray, I like to get everybody involved in it. Collective consciousness. We all have people in our lives that are going through challenges, truly opportunities for growth and expansion. So bring those opportunities to your forefront right now, to your consciousness, and know the truth. That whatever it is, it has come to pass. And so in this prayer, we bring the passing of this discomfort into the peace and the bright light of Spirit. For there is that bright light that is Spirit, that is God itself, the one and the only of which we are all a part. This infinite presence, this great somethingness, this divine lovingness that surrounds and infuses us all is the presence to which I speak this word of truth for each and every one of us. For I know that we're all a part of it. We all feel it. We all live it. We all express it. And we share this idea that it is real. Not some dreams. Not some hocus pocus. This is the truth. So as we recognize that, it puts us into a place of power to use our minds constructively to bring about that to which our word is speaking. You see, our words are images, they're ideas, they are thoughts, and the thoughts are things. And so the things that we bring forth in this prayer are right action, divine guidance, perfect health, perfect employment, that right place to live, the end of discomfort. We bless our leaders. We bless our presidential candidates. We bless their mouths and allow them to speak with kindness and love for one another. We speak a word for the world and its infinite resources. Yes, infinite. We call it finite, but it's not finite. Every plant drops a seed and it begins again. So I bless the world and its infinite givingness and our ability to begin to understand and to live in tandem with it, in truth with it, in cooperation with it, so that we, the livers on this planet, begin to benefit from its infinite givingness in ways that allow every tummy to be full, every heart to be loved, every life to be cherished. This is the dawn of the age of love and inclusion. So let's step into the bright light of that and know that it is a reality in our time, that we are the ones. Now is the time. So holding all this promise as a reality, all this possibility as actualities, these ideas as demonstrations of the mind of God in action, I bless this time together. I call it good and very good. I bless this prayer. I release this word with gratitude into an infinite law that says but one thing. And what is that one thing? Yes. And so it is.